You're listening to Channel 98.9 on this edition of Your Community Today. Laura from Impact Corry sat down with Tony Peyronel, Erie County's economic steward, on April 28th and discussed his role in the Corry community.
Hey everyone, this is Laura from Impact Corry. Today I'm sitting with my guest, Tony Peyronel. How's it going, Tony?
Laura, it's going great. Laura, how are you?
Good. Tony is the new local economic steward. So today we're going to be discussing some of the things that he's going to be doing with the local businesses. So first, why don't you tell us about the small business stewardship and marketing project being advanced by Impact Corry and funded by ECRA?
Economic steward was a term that Chuck Gray, the director, borrowed, but it fits well with the nature of the type of work I'm going to be doing. I think my formal title is Business and Marketing Specialist because that reflects my background. But this whole economic steward thing is that a primary function of the job is to work with existing small businesses to make sure they're aware of all the different free and low-cost resources that are available to them, persuade them to take advantage of those resources, and if they're reluctant, even go with them to a meeting to make that initial connection and to really prod them to follow up and take advantage.
Is this program just for Corry, or is it going to be going to any other rural municipalities?
Well, it starts in Corry. The first year is going to be devoted exclusively to Corry. It's a 3-year grant. The second year will move into Union City, and then ideally the third year will expand throughout all parts of rural Erie County.
How will this work for small business, and what can they expect from you as your role as economic steward?
Well, I think what they can expect from me is that I'll take the lead in connecting them with appropriate resources. My previous position, I was at Edinboro University, now Penn West Edinboro. I was there for 30 years, but the last several years I directed their Center for Branding and Strategic Communication, which is part of the Northwest PA Innovation Beehive Network. That's a collaborative. ECRA is also one of the big funders of that program, but 5 colleges and universities, because they've added Allegheny and Crawford County, work together, and each one provides a specific free service to businesses. And we found in working with there, sometimes people think that's just too good to be true. Like, oh, really? You're going to drop everything. You're going to do all this work for me. It's going to be great, and it isn't going to cost me anything. We've all been told to avoid if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Well, in this case, it isn't. Those organizations are grant funded, so the grant money funds them so that their services are free to business. And so what they can expect me to do is the businesses can expect me to try to connect them to resources like that, to persuade them to use them, and to even go in with them if they're more comfortable doing it that way.
So now talk to me about the types of things that you can connect businesses to, the services throughout Erie County and beyond that are there to serve small business.
Right. Well, we're one of the big partners in this, obviously, is the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. We're just starting the business visits next week. And so the first visits Impact Corry will be doing with 2 staff members from the chamber, so that all businesses can be aware of the services the chamber offers, and then Chuck and I can talk to them about many of the other services that are available, such as the Beehive Network, which I was a part of, which I'm most familiar with. But there are a number of resources like that we're going to try to connect the businesses to.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Again, I'm sitting here with Tony Peyronel. Tony is the new local economic steward. I know that a lot of the businesses, just from interacting with some of the owners, are having difficulty making their presence known. So what are some ways that you're going to help make these businesses in our region more discoverable?
Well, my background, I think that's why we're using the term business and marketing specialist rather than the economic steward, because my background is in public relations, marketing, and promotion. And so certainly I'm going to be willing to directly help the businesses in that regard as much as I can. And then, of course, the branding center at Edinburgh, which I directed, which is part of the Beehive Network, they provide those branding, graphic design, many of those services for free. So it's going to be a combination of me personally helping them and also connecting them with resources like that where they can get high quality, free promotional work done.
To finish this interview off, the last thing I wanted to ask is that you've been developing a podcast to help with the small business called Transforming Small Business. What can we hope to start listening, or when can we hope to start listening, and where do we get to do so?
Okay, well, we recorded the first episode last Friday, and I was just talking to Chris Lantinen, who directs the Edinburgh Beehive now and who's the producer of it. He said the first one is probably going to take a couple of weeks to put together. So it's still probably going to be a couple of weeks before it drops. But then, people will be able to listen to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever they listen to their podcast. It'll be distributed to those sites. And then I suspect Chris will share it and we'll push it through social media resources. Maybe Chuck, we can keep the current show on the website. So that's how they'll be able to catch it. But it's really cool. We're going to try to rotate between talking to some of the partners who are involved and then some of the interesting business owners. And we're going to try to specifically focus on challenges and issues that affect small rural businesses, since that's our audience. But I'm excited to hear the first episode. And again, everybody has to remember it's brand spanking new. It's being created from scratch. So we're adding your voice to it. I'll be doing the interviews. A cool Corry indie group called Slim and Red has provided the music. So it's a really local, a hyper local, hyper organic project.
That's
and
fantastic.
So we hope that everyone will tune in, and we hope that the first episode will probably drop sometime in May.
Again, I'm sitting here with Tony Peyronel, who's going to be working very closely with local businesses, and it's really exciting to have you on board, truly.
Well, I'm excited to be here, really excited to see how all this plays out.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.